Download and upload more than ever before with an ultra-fast fiber connection. With 3 simple steps, you can be the one with an SLT fiber optic connection. Visit slt.lk.
Do not hike. Despite the fuel price revision, Ministry of Finance says transport and logistics sectors need not increase fares. Return home. Sri Lankan High Commissioner in India, Austin Fernando, extended an invitation to Tamil refugees to return to Sri Lanka. Human rights. Core group of Sri Lanka to submit resolution at the Human Rights Council next month. Law and order. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says the judiciary provided freedom to control the drug menace. Tonight, Tuesday, the 12th of February 2019.
From Ada Derana, this is Ada Derana First at 9 with Ndivari Amuwata and Mahesh Jani. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a warm welcome to First at 9 right here on Ada Derana 24. Good evening, Indivari.
Good evening, Mahesh.
Well, we are millionaires.
Certainly, proudly millionaires, and this is thanks to our viewership on our online edition YouTube.
Indeed. Now, you must be wondering what we are talking about. Well, Sri Lanka's #1 entertainment channel, Derana TV, reached another milestone today as it became Sri Lanka's first and only YouTube channel to surpass 1 million subscribers.
Mahesh, now TV Derana's YouTube channel was created just 7 years ago, and that was in January 2012 to cater to an online audience.
Now, shortly after it was launched, it was awarded a YouTube Silver Play button for reaching 200,000 subscribers. Over 13,000 videos uploaded so far on TV Derana's YouTube channel. It has generated more than 847 million views in total.
Well, the channel receives over 400,000 video views daily on average, with a watch time of some 25 years. The content uploaded on Derana's YouTube channel varies from teledramas, reality TV shows, musical and educational programs, among a host of other programs.
Indeed, this is indeed a feat that has never been achieved by any other television network in Sri Lanka, and this is the first.
Certainly.
And we've been having first this year, which is quite a good omen, I guess.
And I guess Derana has always been the first and the pioneer in many several platforms. And of course, this too, we've been able to achieve it. Truly, we're proud here at Derana to be a part of the team. And I think it's time we move on to other stories.
Indeed.
Although the prices of fuel saw an increase from midnight last night, the Ministry of Finance insists there is no reason for the public transport and logistics sector to increase its fares. Offering a clarification, the Ministry of Finance noted that the local selling price of petrol, which was at 137 rupees per litre, at the time fuel prices were increased for the first time in May last year under the pricing formula, are in fact decreased to 129 rupees per litre at present.
Now, the price of diesel, which was 129 rupees per litre during the same period, is today down to 103 rupees per litre. Issuing a communique, the ministry also noted that despite the decrease in prices of fuel, bus and three-wheel fares as well as other transport charges were unreasonably increased in line to the fuel price revisions. Meanwhile, speaking to Ada Derana, President of the Lanka Private Bus Owners Association, Gavanu Wijeratne, said that the public need not fear of a bus fare increase, but requested the government to retract the automatic fuel pricing mechanism.
Since the introduction of the automatic fuel pricing mechanism, the prices of fuel saw revisions at 7 occasions, or rather at 4 occasions to correct. The fuel revisions, which came into effect midnight last night, saw the price of a litre of petrol octane 92 being increased by 6 rupees, while the price of auto diesel was increased by 4 rupees.
Meanwhile, the Lanka Indian Oil Corporation too has decided to increase the fuel prices from midnight yesterday in line with the price hike announced by the government. Accordingly, Lanka IOC has increased the price of Lanka auto diesel by 4 rupees and octane 95 petrol by 5 rupees per litre.
Meanwhile, protests were held by Southern Provincial Council members Channa Salia Mendis and Sampath Athukorala at the chambers of the Southern Provincial Council today.
Well, meanwhile, politicians representing the opposition lamented that the government's decision to increase the fuel price based on the automatic fuel pricing formula. Now, speaking at a media briefing today, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Professor G.L. Piri, says that the fuel prices must be adjusted in a practical manner. As the Prime Minister decreased the fuel prices without any of these pricing formulas. We will establish a new government before the end of this year. We will make sure to get rid of this pricing formula and will revise fuel prices practically.
Mahinda
Rajapaksa, during his tenure as the PM, decreased the fuel prices, and this government doesn't have the strength. That is why they brought up the topic of this pricing formula to increase the fuel prices.
Well, a progress review meeting on the proposed water supply project for the Northern Province was held at the Presidential Secretariat under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena today. During the meeting, President Sirisena had stressed the need to provide immediate solutions to the issues of inadequate water supply for the provinces and agricultural sector. The head of state had pointed out that addressing this issue can be the main pathway to eradicate poverty, as well as issues faced with other ongoing projects in the northern region of this country. The president also focused on the progress of several other proposed projects, such as the main canal project in Central Province and a river for Jaffna project funded by the Netherlands.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe stresses that the government will not allow bankrupt politicians to toy with the judiciary and hinder efforts to control illicit drugs from entering into the country. Now, speaking at an event in Colombo this evening, the Prime Minister highlighted that the Sri Lanka Police and the Special Task Force are now giving a free hand to control the drug menace owing to the confidence and freedom provided to the country's judiciary.
We're
not able to control the spread of the drug menace in the country. In 2016, I had a meeting with high-ranking police officers and asked what they require to combat the issue of illicit drugs. I also asked whether they need more funds that will be allocated through the budget. Do you know what they said? They told me that they only need our confidence and an independent judiciary. I questioned them about their request. They said that the parliamentarians and ministers of this government have connections with the drug traffickers and not to intervene by giving orders to protect certain individuals. They said they cannot do this job without having that freedom. After a year later, I questioned them again and they told me that they have confidence to do the job. That's how the police began to take prompt action against the drug deal. STF played a major role in this journey. We handed over the task to the STF chief, Mr. Latif. At the same time, we saw the judges and the magistrates take firm decisions. This was another blessing for us. Day by day, the arrests increased. Today, we see them performing their duties not only in the country but overseas as well. These actions are being taken because of the independent commission introduced by us. We can't allow bankrupt politicians to play around with the judiciary.
A cabinet paper pertaining to the provincial council elections was presented at the weekly meeting of the Cabinet of Ministers today. Speaking to media, however, Minister Akila Viraj Karyavasam and Gamini Jayavikrama Pereira said the discussions pertaining to the cabinet paper was postponed until a meeting is held with the Speaker, Karu Jayasuriya, in a bid to iron out several issues pertaining to the matter. They further noted that the report related to the meeting will be presented to the Cabinet of Ministers within the next 2 weeks.
අද මොකද මේ අර කැබිනට් පත්‍රිකාව ගත්තද? ඡන්දෙට ඡන්දෙ තියෙන එක.
ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කතා නැහැ.
It was discussed and decided to take a decision after a meeting with the Speaker. Therefore, it was postponed and will be taken later. However, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the project of giving tablet computers to the school children. It will be initially launched at the Grade 1B schools as a pilot project and will be implemented in other schools after 3 months. The President also asked for a comprehensive report over the project at the next Cabinet meeting.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා වාර්තාවක් දෙන්නත් කිව්වා.
මොකද උනේ මේ ඡන්දෙත් තියන්න කැබිනට් පත්‍රිකාවක් දානවා කියලා තිබ්බා.
Yes, a cabinet paper was presented to hold the elections. It was decided to hold discussions with the Speaker. Then the Prime Minister will present a report to the Cabinet within a week or two.
ඒ කියන්නේ ඡන්දෙ දැන් ළඟදිම තියෙයිද පළාත් සභා?
First, discussions with the Speaker should take place. There are some issues to be sorted out. Later, the President and the Prime Minister will discuss among themselves and inform the Cabinet.
එතකොට මේ පළාත් සභා මැතිවරණය පවත්වන්න මේ කතානායකගෙන් අනුමැතියක් අවශ්‍යද?
No, but there are some issues to be sorted out from the side of the Parliament. They will discuss.
ඒක තුලයි එච්චරයි.
In one of our headline stories, Sri Lankan High Commissioner in India, Austin Fernando, says that the Sri Lankan government is willing to look into issues faced by Tamil refugees while assuring that each case will be looked at individually. Speaking to the Indian media outlet The Hindu, the High Commissioner noted that the government is willing to repatriate them. However, certain changes are required to the existing rules and regulations. He expressed these views recently speaking to the Indian newspaper The Hindu on a visit to Chennai to obtain first-hand knowledge of the situation pertaining to Tamil refugees.
In an interview with Indian publication The Hindu recently, Sri Lankan High Commissioner to India, Austin Fernando, discussed about his visit to Chennai to garner first-hand knowledge of the situation of the Tamil refugees. Speaking to the media outlet, he revealed that a team of officials from Colombo left to Chennai to interview refugees on issues pertaining to passports, birth certificates and other problems they may face. The High Commissioner went on to say that during the interview with the refugees, the group discovered that the situation of some people have been, quote, in really bad shape and have found some of the cases very pathetic, unquote. The High Commissioner assured that each case will be looked at individually and a decision will be taken, although some decisions cannot be made according to the existing rules, regulations, circulars and standing orders, and they may have to propose new ways to go to the Cabinet for approval. He insists that there may also be changes of rules and laws and said that, quote, we are very willingly waiting to repatriate these people to our country, unquote. The Sri Lankan High Commissioner also stated that it was decided that the verification of 3,850 names of the refugees should be undertaken by the Indian government during Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's visit to New Delhi in October last year. He went on to say that the returnee package has to be worked out and that it is a job of the Sri Lankan government. The article further stated that out of the 97,000 refugees, those who are willing to return will be known when the verification process is completed, and added that the Indian side will carry out a comprehensive survey to ascertain the intention of the refugees to return voluntarily. Meanwhile, speaking on resumption of ferry services between Rameshwaram and Talaimana, Austin Fernando said that it is an issue since some Indian and Sri Lankan organizations have concerns. However, he said that the Indian government has agreed to permit ships or ferries, and last week or so, 16 families went back as refugees on their own. Concluding the interview on Sri Lankan Tamil refugees in India, Sri Lankan High Commissioner in India, Austin Fernando, said that, quote, I think Sri Lanka needs them. We want them to return. And after disastrous situation, people do not get the best things of which they would like to have. But we will try to give the best offer to everyone who returns, unquote.
The UK's State Minister for Commonwealth and the United Nations, Lord Tariq Ahmed, says that the Commonwealth will play an integral role in fostering strong relations amongst its European neighbours when Britain leaves the bloc. Speaking at the 71st National Independence Day celebration of Sri Lanka at the Sri Lankan High Commission in London, Lord Ahmed affirmed that the UK government is committed to maintaining strong ties with European nations no matter the outcome of ongoing Brexit discussions. UK is scheduled to leave the European Union on the 29th of next month.
A trade show exhibiting key sectors of the Sri Lankan economy was held in line with the 71st independence of Sri Lanka at the High Commission in London recently. UK Minister of State for the Commonwealth and United Nations Lord Tariq Ahmed was the chief guest at the event.
Which I'm proud that the United Kingdom is an inherent and integral part of. playing its full part in big priorities, not just for the UK, but for all Commonwealth nations across the globe. And it's an important relationship, not least with the small issue of Brexit, which is keeping many people occupied. But I do want to just make a serious point there. I talked about near neighbours. Whatever the outcomes of the discussions we're having, it is important that as we leave the European Union, I again state on record the importance of what our Prime Minister has done and assured. That yes, whilst we leave the European Union, we stay part and parcel of the European continent, not just in terms of our geography, but in terms of our relationship. And we will continue to work closely with our European neighbours, friends and partners on the important objectives across many areas of common activity. But in doing so, the Commonwealth will also have a key role to play, and I'm delighted that we will have the likes of Cyprus and Malta who will be part of the EU, but equally we will continue to have that bridging relationship with our European Union partners.
In other stories we have for you tonight, the United Kingdom has announced that the core group on Sri Lanka will be submitting a resolution on the island at this month's Human Rights Council meeting in Geneva. Following the Human Rights Council organisational meeting yesterday, the UK mission to the United Nations issued a media communique stating that it will be submitting 3 resolutions and 1 joint statement on 4 countries. Accordingly, the core group on Sri Lanka, comprising of Canada, Germany, Macedonia, Montenegro and the UK, will present a resolution on promoting reconciliation, accountability and human rights in the country. The core group will once again be working in partnership with Sri Lanka and look to continue the cooperation which began in 2015 and maintain engagement with the Council as Sri Lanka works towards the implementation of the commitments in Human Rights Council Resolution 30-1. A statement went on to say that the core group on Sri Lanka will also hold open informal negotiations in line with standard council practice and hopes to have the full support of the council for the resolution once again.
Now, the National Organization of National Freedom Front, or rather the national organizer of the National Freedom Front parliamentarian Jayantha Samaravira, revealed that a plan is underway to arrest former Chief of Navy Admiral Wasantha Karannagoda before the Human Rights Council session on the 25th. Speaking at a media briefing held at the party headquarters today, Samaravira pointed out that the arrest is to be carried out by the Criminal Investigations Department.
The 40th session of the Human Rights Council is set to commence on the 25th of this month in Geneva. To fulfill the promise made by Mangala Samaravira, they are going to arrest former Navy Commander Admiral Wasantha Karannagoda tomorrow. They arrest and release Commodore Deep KP Dasanayaka on bail based on the B report of a case filed in Fort Magistrates Court. A duo named Sampath Munasinghe and Prasad Hettiarachchi too were arrested and released on bail. Now, the Criminal Investigation Department is getting ready to arrest former Navy Commander Admiral Wasantha Karannagoda tomorrow. They are also getting ready to appoint a tri-member judge bench to hear the case and keep him in remand custody until the ruling is announced. The reason behind this is a private quarrel between Minister Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca and his admiral. We also have a doubt if this is done with the alliance of Minister Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca and Sampath Munasinghe. Attorney at law Udul Premaratne, who is currently in Dubai to represent singer Amal Pereira and his son Nadimal Pereira, said that Dubai police did not produce a single suspect in courts so far. Attorney Premaratne added that his client, singer Amal Pereira, and his son have been detained with Makandure Madush along with the 31 others at the Dubai police station, and police still awaits a date for the suspect to be produced before courts. He further noted that according to the law in the United Arab Emirates, the suspects who are arrested on charges of murder, drugs and rape can be kept under police custody indefinitely till conclusions of the investigation. He also said that Dubai police confirmed to him that the blood test of Nadimal Pereira had proven negative, while police are yet to receive the report on Amal Pereira's blood samples.
And in the meantime, parliamentarian Lakshman Yapabewardena denied any connection between him and Markandure Madhush. Speaking at a media briefing held in Colombo today, he said that he had not had any connection or dealings with the drug kingpin since year 1999.
මදුෂ් පදිංචි උනේ මාකඳුරේලා මම අඳුරන්නේ නැති වෙන්න බෑනේ මම 1999 දැක්කට පස්සේ මදුෂ් කෙනෙක් මම දැකලා නැහැ හැබැයි ඇඳුරුවයි කියලා අපි කිසිම ක්‍රියාකාරකමකට ඒ අයත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙලා නැහැනේ වැරදි ක්‍රියාකාරකමට දේශපාලනඥයෙක් මම හොඳටම දන්නවා මුළු ගමම ගියා මල ගෙදර බස් අරගෙන හැබැයි මම පුංචිලෙක්ට ගියේ නැත්නම් මම දන්නවා මේ දේශපාලනයේදී මේවා භාවිතා වෙන්නේ වෙන ක්‍රමයකට ඉතින් මේක පිළිබඳ නම් ගම් වශයෙන් උනත් දේශපාලනඥයෙක්ගේ මට කියන්න පුළුවන් නමුත් මම කියන්නේ නැහැ මොකද ඊට පස්සේ එතන පටලැවිල්ලක් හැදෙනවා දිගටම.
Well, despite being one of the world's oldest known medical conditions, public fear and misunderstanding about epilepsy persists, making many people reluctant to talk about it. That reluctance today leads people to live in shadow, discrimination in workplace as well as in their own communities. And there is even a lack of funding for new medical research. And this is why the International Epilepsy Day seeks to raise awareness and educate the general public on this chronic disorder and the urgent need for improved treatment, better care and greater investment in research.
Now, Sri Lanka also joined in to mark the Epilepsy Day yesterday during its special official event. Former cricketer Kumar Sangakkara, who participated as the chief guest, emphasized that the most effective way to eradicate stigma surrounding epilepsy in Sri Lankan society is to continue addressing the issue by all relevant parties.
Sri Lanka joined in to mark the International Epilepsy Day yesterday with an event organised by the Epilepsy Association of Sri Lanka at the auditorium of National Hospital in Colombo. Director General of Health Services Dr. Anil Singha and former cricketer Kumar Sangakkara attended the occasion as chief guests. Medical officials as well as affected families gathered at the event to share their experiences as well as to talk about stigma surrounding the chronic disorder.
For us Sri Lankans, we struggle to talk about anything that scares us. Epilepsy, it is an affliction that causes fear and doubt. It can't be hidden away at home nor limited to National Epilepsy Day of any particular year. These are stories that need to be spoken about, examples that are taken to the public to ensure that the conversation around epilepsy takes place every day and becomes almost commonplace, so that the stigma, the shame, the fear surrounding this particular subject is eradicated. We have to educate ourselves before we can educate others of what epilepsy really is. What is out there in terms of treatment, interventions, therapy or surgery, and what are the support structures that are in place to ensure that people living with epilepsy, their families, their friends, the school system and the corporates all understand how together we can make Sri Lanka a better and more inclusive society.
Quite interesting comments there by former cricketer Kumar Sangakkara about epilepsy and the stigma surrounding it.
I think we should understand this because epilepsy is a chronic disorder that causes sudden seizures. So this is not something we need to remain in the shadows, as we did say at the beginning. Let's understand this and help each other overcome.
Indeed, indeed. With that, let's go for a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is Other Derana 24.
Well, the Tourism Development Authority announced that tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka in January 2019 rose 2.2% from a year earlier. The total number of arrivals to Sri Lanka during January 2019 was 244,239. Meanwhile, arrivals grew 3.5% in November and 10.3% in December, with officials saying that a constitutional crisis dampened bookings to the island last month. The largest source of markets for tourists were India, followed by China and the United Kingdom. In 2018 alone, Sri Lanka welcomed 2,333,796 visitors, up 10.3% from a year earlier. This year, the Sri Lankan government has set a target to attract 3 million tourists with an earning of $5 billion annually.
To the stock market now. The all-share price index ended 0.51% weaker at 5,930.21 today, marking its lowest close since the 23rd of November. The market turnover was at 1.1 billion rupees, which is well above last year's daily average of 834 million rupees. Meanwhile, foreign investors were net sellers of 261.4 million rupees worth shares, and they have been net sellers of 4.8 billion rupees worth of stocks so far this year. With that, let's cross over to a detailed report on how the Colombo bourse performed during the week.
Foreign selling pressure was seen in both the stock market and bond market with the weak economic conditions prevailing. We saw foreign selling pressure in the belly end and the long end of the yield curve in the bond market, shifting interest rates slightly upwards today. In the stock market, of course, we saw bond prices plunging, primarily led by the expected weak insurance sector results.
The Sri Lankan rupee, in the meantime, ended weaker today as banks bought dollars to facilitate stock-related outflows and import a greenback demand. The rupee ended 179 rupees and 63 cents compared to the US dollar today. It has risen 2.5% so far this year as exporters converted dollars and foreign investors purchased government securities after a statement from the International Monetary Fund and the government's $1 billion debt repayment boosted confidence. With that, let's now take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies across the world.
Watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is Other Derana 24.
Sports news now. The head coach of the Sri Lanka national cricket team, Chantika Hathurusinga, says that off-field distractions has made a negative impact on the team's performance. Responding to questions regarding the team's failure to win matches since last October, Hathurusinga said that injuries and the suspension on Akila Dhananjaya played a part in the team's dismal performance, which in turn has put a lot of strain on the team. He further said that the ICC fixing allegations, change of the selectors, leadership and the coaching staff created uncertainty as well. He went on to say that there was enough pressure on the players in the middle for them to concentrate on. Responding to his views on his removal as an on-tour selector, Hathurusinga said that he was disappointed by the way it occurred, saying there was no communication is yet and he is yet to receive an answer.
Well, that's all the news from us here tonight. Do log on to www.otherderana.lk and also be a part of our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel of TV Derana and be a part of our success of 1 million subscribers. I'm Derana.
And I'm Mahesh Johnny. Have a very good night.